Hey YouTube, it's Keisha. This video is going to be talking about my postnatal depression and how it's affected me and what I've done to help manage it and treat it. So like I said in my previous update, at the end of August I went to my doctors and I was diagnosed with high moderate to severe depression. Now, I'd had it a few months before I actually went to seek help, but I just thought it was normal to feel down sometimes, and I kind of ignored the signs and just put them to the back of my mind. Now, postnatal depression is basically depression after having a baby, and it usually occurs in the first 6 weeks of having a baby, but in my case it wasn't until Anaya was 7 months until it like gradually came along and got worse. But anything within the first year they class as postnatal depression. So when I started realizing that something wasn't right was on an occasion when I was at home with Anaya alone, and I was in the sitting room and I wasn't concentrating. I was just really zoned out. I wasn't tired or anything, I was just zoned out, and Anaya fell off the sofa and landed on her head, and it was pretty scary. I was shocked. It happened so quickly. I called my mum straight away and my family nurse, and they told me to keep an eye on her for an hour. And then obviously they say if you look out for signs of sleepiness or you know, she's like not herself, or she's crying or vomiting or stuff like that, and if any of those occur, then take her straight to hospital. Well, thankfully none of those occurred and she was fine. And then that same day she fell off the sofa again. She didn't fall on her head, but she just kind of fell off onto her side, and the same thing, it happened so quickly. I don't know what happened, and that's when I really started to think, okay, something's up here, because it's not like me to have her falling like that. You know, usually I have eyes at the back of my head, I have eyes everywhere to make sure she doesn't hurt herself, and all of a sudden all these things were happening. That day I kind of knew that maybe I had depression, so I was looking up on the internet, and some of the symptoms they mentioned, like feeling low, feeling isolated, crying for no reason, having bad thoughts in my head, all that sort of stuff was happening with me. I wanted to talk to my mum, but it was kind of like I wouldn't think that she would understand. Now, she knew something was up with me, because that day when she came home she was like, isn't I okay, what's wrong, don't feel guilty, stuff like that. But I knew I wasn't. It was just because I thought I had depression, but I just couldn't talk to her. So I'm like, nothing's wrong, and we kind of fell out because of that. But eventually the next day, once I slept on it, I was like, I actually need to get help, because it's affecting the way I'm, you know, watching and looking after my baby, and obviously I don't want to hurt Anaya. So I spoke to her and she informed my family nurse, and I'll see my family nurse the next day or something. So my mom said that my family nurse would talk to me. So the next day came and spoke to her, and she told me, you know, she did this questionnaire on me basically, and it measures your anxiety and your depression levels, and mine were pretty high. And I'd done one before and I was getting low 2 and 3s, and now it had rocketed up to high levels of 15, between 15 and 17. And she said that's pretty, like, that's high, it's like at the end of the chart high. So she's definitely referring me to my doctor. So she called up my doctor straight away and spoke to him like formally and said, you know, she can't wait 2 weeks to have an appointment, she needs to have one now because it's serious. So she got me an appointment for probably the next day or the day after, I can't quite remember. and I went doctors, and I did another questionnaire thing, and as soon as I went in, the doctor said, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm fine." And he's like, "I heard you wasn't fine." And then I just started bursting out into tears. It was the weirdest feeling. Like, I just started bursting out into tears. I couldn't talk. It was hard to get what I wanted to say out. But he was asking me questions, and it affected me. Like, at one point, I had such low confidence that I wouldn't go out with just me and the baby. I wouldn't go out just me by myself. I wouldn't go on public transport by myself. I couldn't even go to the shop by myself. If I needed to buy nappies or wipes or whatever, I'd have to ask my mum to go, because I wouldn't want to go, or I'd have to be with someone. What else? It was bad that I was just crying all the time for no reason. I'd just start crying. I felt isolated, I felt alone, I felt like everyone else was against me. It did go so bad as that I did self-harm myself. I cut my arms on a few occasions, and I was so scared to tell my doctor that, because the main thing that was in my head is that they're going to take my baby away from me, and obviously I didn't want that. But he asked me all those questions like, "Are you self-harming yourself?" And I told him yes, and I told him on my wrists and my arms, and he said to me straight away that that nothing's gonna happen to me or the baby. Like, they're not gonna take my baby away, and the main thing, that it's not my fault, and it will get better, basically. So basically he said there was only one option for me, because it can be treated in many ways, from as little as just talking to people, or going to classes, or listening to relaxing music, or doing things that you enjoy. Stuff like that can help you with your depression. But because mine was pretty serious, he put me straight onto tablets, antidepressant tablets, and I'm still on them, and I have to be on them until next year, April, and then I'll be reassessed. And they're going good. It took a while for them to kick in. The first 6 weeks, the first 2 weeks, I did see a change. I was a bit happier, but I was still having those down moments. After the first 6 weeks, I had no more down moments. I wasn't crying anymore. I stopped self-harming myself, or getting those bad thoughts to harm myself. And I've got my confidence back. I can go out. Of course, I have to go to college anyways, but I can go out, I can go out with the baby, go on buses, and all of that. So the tablets are definitely helping. The disadvantage of the tablets were that they did take a while to kick in, and it is a long-term thing, and also they can become addictive, or they are addictive. So once my doctor does decide that I don't need to take them no more, I'll have to be weaned off them slowly, as if like I was a drug user, just because they're addictive, and if he withdrew them from me straight away, then I could have like side effects and stuff. What else? But that's pretty much how it affected me. Really, yeah, I wouldn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone. Didn't go out with friends. Just kept myself to myself. Literally, I isolated myself in my house. I would never go out, and it's not healthy for me or the baby, because obviously she needs to go out for fresh air sometimes. And just because I couldn't, she was always stuck in the house. This was before I started college. But I had a lot of help and support. I had a lot of help and support from my mum and dad, and close friends and family, of course. And I think that is pretty much it for my depression. So that's literally the main reason why I hadn't done a video in so long. And if anyone is out there that has signs like feeling low all the time, or anyone that thinks that they do have depression, then I would highly advise you to seek help, because if you don't, it will get a lot worse. Now, if I seeked help like straight away when I started to realize signs, maybe it wouldn't have gotten so bad that I started to self-harm myself and cut my arms and wrists. You don't want to let it get that far. And so if you do have seek help if you do feel that you may have it and it does get better, and they're not going to take your baby away, because that was my main worry. I was just so scared that they was going to tell me I was an unfit mother and that they're going to involve social services, but it was nothing like that. They're on your side basically, and it is an illness and it will get better. Even if it takes months, it will definitely get better, and it's definitely gotten better for me, because hey, I'm back on YouTube, so it's definitely gotten better. But I thought I would just let you know that I do have postnatal depression, but it is getting better and I feel so much better, and I'm basically back to my normal self. If you have any questions about it or anything, then feel free to comment below. And that is it. So I will see you for my next update. Alright, bye.